Hi everyone, welcome. This is Alice, but you might know me as Stamper Girl. Today I'm doing just some mixed media card. I am using this leftover cardstock that I actually was using for another card. I did cut out some Love Yous from the Cat Scrappiness I Love You Shadows die cut. And I'm going to use it as a stencil. And I am trying to decide, I'm going to start at the top, start at the bottom. I'm going to cut the part that says love because I'm just going to stencil the U. But before I do that, I have some pretty old rub-ons. These are from the 1900s and I'm literally just opening the book, whichever page I open, that's this rub-on I'm going to use. I decided to use the one on the left. And I'm going to peel it off. Again, these are pretty old rub-ons, so I am going to struggle a little bit to pull this rub-on off. But that is totally fine, even if it comes in pieces, because again, we are going for a super grungy and mixed media look for this card. I'm going to start peeling off and just adding some pressure where it's not picking up, and I find it that it's easier if like just do it. And then sometimes it doesn't matter how much pressure you add, it does not want to stick to my cardstock. You'll see me that I am gonna pull it, and this is still loose, that rub-on. So I'm bringing the release paper. The release paper usually does the trick. I have no idea what is with the release paper, but I'm using the bottom of my stylus from my Cat Scrappiness stylus, and that does the trick. And then I'm just adding the last little part. Again, I am going to stencil on top of this. You will see me bring in my stencil in my acrylic paints. The acrylic paints that I'm using are the Adirondack by Ranger. These are also pretty old. They are probably, I don't know, 20 years old, around that, maybe a little bit less. And I believe I'm using the terracotta, the pastel, and I think that is the bottle color. That is the name of the blue. It's bottle. I'm putting a little bit of washi paper. I'm going to put my acrylic paint, and it's really, really thick. My acrylic paint on the bottom. And here's my pastel. Then the bottle. And I'm going to use my palette knife to drag these, but I feel like it's easier to drag to the side than drag to up. So I'm just dragging it and just having a little bit of fun. Now, I did realize, and you'll see it in a minute, that it took me too long for me to decide what I wanted to do with each of these. So these paints, since I'm spreading them so thin, they started to dry and the cardstock is starting to get stuck into my background. Mind you, I don't mind it at all because again, I'm going for a grungy look. If you are looking for a really clean look, make your own stencils on some stencil material and that will help you, or just work faster. I am just having fun and not working faster. I'm just taking my time and just having fun. So that's totally fine. So here, when I pull it out, notice that it's stuck. It's really, really stuck because the acrylic acts as a glue. And I try to get a little bit out of it. I pull some out and then I was like, why am I even bothering? I actually like the grungy look that it adds. I did use my embossing gun to heat up and dry the rest of the acrylic because I wanted to do the second layer, the bottom. It's the same color. So here I am trying to work a little bit faster. So I'm doing the colors in this way. And I think this was a lot faster actually. And again, I'm like, I don't like pulling up or down. So I like pulling to the right. That is my personal preference. And then I'm just pulling in what you get is what you get. And there it is. And I actually like it. It is super fun. It is so shimmery. I hope you could see it. These acrylic paints have some shimmer in it and they are fabulous. I am bringing in my Tim Holtz cupcake stamp. This is a rubber stamp. And I'm trying to figure out how I am going to use this. I have no idea what this card is going to look at the end. So you're going to have to bear with me here. I cut out a panel here that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm figuring out if I wanted to go landscape or portrait, and I'm bringing again my 3 colors. I'm changing a little bit the position, the order of the colors, and with my palette knife, I am just gonna drag and make some fun swishes of acrylic paint. And this was so much fun. I love it, love it, love it. Love the way it looks. Here you can see the shine of this. See how it's catching up the light? And it is almost immediately dry when this is done. And now I'm trying to figure out, which side do I want up? Like the top, it's so straight. It's just not giving me a free look. So I'm going to dry this up. I'm going to stamp with my VersaFine clear ink. And then I decide, since this is acrylic, so it is kind of, it's a polymer, so it's going to be plasticky. It's going to take forever to dry. So I decide, oh, I'm going to heat emboss it. And I know as a fact that it's going to stick everywhere because this acrylic paint is not completely dry. But I don't care because I am using my Wow embossing powder that is my matte clear, which is, I'm not going to get any glossy or finish at all. And I am totally fine with that because it's going to get some really fun resist texture onto my card. The colors on this are just gorgeous. They really are. And they are so shimmery. I'm trying to make sense to what I'm making, what this card is going to become. Because this is such a bright, fun card. Which is going to end up a lot more darker and grungy at the end. Here I am, where I decide I'm going to go with heat embossing. I know the effects of it. I know what's going to happen, and I'm totally fine with it. So I end up embossing and then adding some splatters, and I know there's going to be some resist, and that is perfectly fine. I expect those. For my splatters, I'm going to use the Distress Mica Stain Frozen Fog and the Dilutions Black Magic, I think it is called. Just make sure that you shake these well. Just try to move them in the circular motion so all the mica gets distributed into your liquid. I end up spraying it onto an acrylic block and then using a fan brush in my trusty spray box that you can see, and I love it. I'm coming back now with my Dilutions Black Marble, I think it is called, and I am not even bothering how to clean up my acrylic block, just using the same paintbrush and the same acrylic block. I didn't even clean up my brush to start with, and I think it may have some extra lavender color in there because my brush was not clean. That's totally fine. We're going for a grungy look. I will put a piece of tissue on top of it to absorb all the extra excess, because remember, this is all on top of embossing, so it's gonna resist a lot of this. I end up cutting the image out with my scissors, and I wish I had actually tore the image away with my hands. I think this just was giving me a harder time because of the shape that I created. I was trying to go for like a frosting look, but I did not achieve that, and it was just bothering me. But you'll see me that I get over it pretty soon. Now I'm trying to figure it out. How am I going to make this into a 2-size card? What was it in my head going on that this does not match? It's not working out in my head. Maybe all the cold medicine that I have in my body. So I come back with bits and pieces of other previous projects. I have this cutout that I have and some 1900s Heidi Swapp tape that I have no idea where I got it, but I love the black. And then this creates a gate, and that got me excited, but then that lasted like a minute. Then I ripped this, and I was like, oh, I like the way it ripped in the triangles. So I'm going to mimic it on the other side. And then I was like, I really like how that gray tones everything down. And I want to do this again. So I'm going to create the tour of these little squares that I think they're fabulous, okay? And this is what I'm going to work with. And this suddenly makes me very excited about the card. I still don't know what this is going, but it's going somewhere that I am having fun with it. The reason I grabbed the gray was because that silver fog, frozen fog spray has a lot of silver mica in it. So I'm going to glue these die cut pieces. This was from a cover plate. I'm trying to remember who makes this cover plate, but I really can't remember at this point. This literally has been in my craft table for a couple, maybe a month, maybe more. So now I am gluing this piece to the background. This was meant to be a mini slimline. Is that you can tell this is not going to be a mini slimline at all. I do love the ribbon with the stencil on top because it's bringing all those colors back. And there goes my card. My mini slimline just has been torn away because I realized at this point this is not what it was. It's not going to become what I had at the beginning of this video in my head of what this card was going to be. Apparently I have not bring enough stuff, so I'm bringing some buttons, and I want to do 3. I really want to do 3, but I end up with 2. Don't ask me. Yes, rule of thirds. You know what? Sometimes rules are meant to be broken, because I really want to use that tiny one, but it's really thick. That tiny little button is twice as thick as the other 2, and I'm like, I know it's going to break, and the envelope, I know it's going to be a problem. So I'm like, so I'll use this one. And I'm like, no, it's too big. So I'm like, you know what? It's okay. I will do 2. I am grunging up a little bit the image, and I'm bringing my Stabilo all. And I am just, this is my silicone mat. I'm just scribbling on my silicone mat and adding a little bit of water, bringing my paintbrush and just adding shadows here and there. And remember, it's going to be really hard to add any color because of all the embossing and the resist that is going to create. But that is still okay because it's still adding some grunginess. And I'm going to do it all over the card, including the little tiles that we created with that cover plate. I did mark where I want those buttons, and I took this to my machine and I went to town. You know what? Yes, I went to town. Then I am coming with, I have a mouse foam on the bottom, and I'm using my pokey tool to poke the buttonholes on here. And then I'm going to mark also the pokey holes, the buttonholes on the other side of the other button. And I'm going to sew these. I'm using some really thick embroidery. Love this embroidery. I am actually starting from the front. You can start from the front. You can start from the back. You can do whatever it's that it pleases you the most. I am using a single strand because this is pretty thick embroidery thread, and I don't want my paper to get torn in those because those 2 holes are pretty close by. So this one is only going to have 3 stitches, but they're going to be with only 2 holes. And then I'm going to move to add the other button on the other side. And do you see the cute little arrow that was created here when the sewing? I love that little detail. So cute. And I am trimming the X's and putting a little piece of washi tape in the back. It's my little arrow. And what it's going to be next, I have no idea. Most likely adding more black to my image because I feel it's still too bright. So I am using my Stabilo oil and a little bit of water and just adding. Because remember, this is all embossed, so it's making a little bit of a resist. But that Stabilo oil pencil is the best thing ever. It will really, really stick. So here I'm adding scribbles here and there. I'm just making it a little bit grungier than it is right now. And I am loving it. Truly, truly loving it. What do you think of this type of look? I know this was super bright. We're grunging it up, so it's not as bright as it was. And this is my, I should patent this, is my Stamper Girl way of throwing some bling into a card. Random is best, so I literally randomly throw them on my card and then glue them. I am bringing this Momenta alphabet. Now I was going to do Wish because this is for the Wish Day Hop. And then I realized, oh my God, that candle, it's in the exact precision to be the eye. So I am using that as an eye, and I'm going to see how I make it work. I did cut these out of this super, super like slap your mama bright gold pattern paper, and it may have been a little bit too much. I don't know, you tell me. Should I have gone with something a little bit more subtle? I'm making sure that my S actually fits through my little gems. My H is right, one of the legs is behind the button. Like, this all worked out perfectly. And I'm gonna make sure that my W here is where my problem is, because I mounted all this on foam tape and my W is kind of hanging. So I was like, oh, should I have done multiple layers on that side? And then I was like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna go with all that trouble. I'm just gonna stick it to the main card base. The card base was, it did not record. I just used some textured mousse in a silver color and just went to town on a black card base. I'm adding some stickles. I'm really trying to make that eye pop so you can read Wish instead of whoosh, right? And I'm here bringing, as you can see, I added some gold Sharpie. That was not enough. I came with a gold acrylic, and now I'm happy because now you can really read the Wish. I really hope you enjoy my videos and my content. If you do, please make sure that you like and subscribe to let YouTube know that I have good content and it should be shared with others. Well, remember, don't leave your crafting for tomorrow. Start today. Bye.